Picture this. It's 1969, and a group of young musicians in Chicago are about to change music forever. With songs like September, Boogie Wonderland, and Let's Groove, Earth, Wind and Fire didn't just create hits. They built a legacy that's still electrifying audiences in 2025. From cosmic soul to spiritual funk, their music blended R&B, jazz, and mysticism into a sound that's timeless. But who were the original members behind this revolution? What drove them to create such iconic grooves, and where are they now? Earth, Wind and Fire wasn't just a band, it was a movement. Founded in 1969 by Maurice White, this group fused R&B, funk, jazz, gospel, and even African rhythms into a sound that transcended genres. Their music wasn't just about dancing. It was about uplifting the spirit, celebrating life, and connecting cultures. With over 90 million records sold, 6 Grammy Awards, and a 2000 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, EWF became one of the most influential bands in history. But it all started with a dream in Chicago, where a young drummer named Maurice White envisioned something bigger than himself. Today, we're taking you back to the 1960s and 1970s, when EWF's original members laid the foundation for their legendary sound. We'll explore their stories. Maurice White's visionary leadership, Philip Bailey's heavenly falsetto, Verdine White's funky bass lines, and more. We'll uncover their triumphs, their struggles, and where they stand in 2025. From sold-out arenas to personal battles, this is the ultimate deep dive into Earth, Wind and Fire's original lineup. Let's meet the pioneers who made it happen. Maurice White, the architect of cosmic soul. Every great band needs a visionary, and for Earth, Wind and Fire, that was Maurice White. Born on December 19, 1941, in Memphis, Tennessee, Maurice grew up in a neighborhood pulsing with gospel and blues. His early years were steeped in music. His grandmother sang in the church choir, and the sounds of Beale Street were his playground. At 18, he moved to Chicago to study at the Chicago Conservatory of Music, but his real education came at Chess Records, where he worked as a session drummer. Picture a young Maurice laying down beats for legends like Etta James, Muddy Waters, and Ramsey Lewis. Those sessions weren't just gigs, they were where he absorbed the soul, jazz, and rhythm that would define EWF. In 1969, Maurice had a vision, a band that could blend jazz, funk, gospel, and African rhythms into something universal. He started with a songwriting trio called the Salty Peppers, alongside Wade Flemons and Don Whitehead. But when they moved to Los Angeles, Maurice rebranded the group as Earth, Wind and Fire, inspired by his Sagittarius sign, which draws from earth, air, and fire elements. The name was a cosmic nod to his spiritual and musical philosophy. With his brother Verdine White on bass and a rotating cast of musicians, Maurice launched EWF with their self-titled debut in 1971. It was raw, experimental, and a hint of what was to come. By the mid-1970s, Maurice had assembled a powerhouse lineup, introducing the kalimba, an African thumb piano, into pop music. He crafted horn arrangements that rivaled jazz orchestras, blending them with funky rhythms and spiritual lyrics. Albums like That's the Way of the World, 1975, Gratitude, 1975, and All in All, 1977, weren't just chart toppers, they were cultural landmarks. Hits like Shining Star and September became anthems, with Maurice's soulful voice and production genius at the core. He didn't just lead EWF, he produced for Barbra Streisand's Emotion, Neil Diamond's Headed for the Future, and Ramsey Lewis's Sun Goddess, spreading his spiritual polish across genres. But behind the spotlight, Maurice faced a silent struggle. In the 1990s, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. At first, he kept it private, continuing to write, produce, and guide EWF from the studio. He stopped touring in 1994, but his mind remained sharp, his creativity unstoppable. Maurice once said, "Music is the greatest communication in the world," and even as his body slowed, his music spoke louder than ever. He released a solo album in 1985 and executive produced Brian Culbertson's Bringing Back the Funk in 2008, proving his influence never faded. Maurice was more than a musician. He was a husband, a father to 3 children, Jamia, Cabrin, and Eden, and a private man who loved tennis, basketball, and family. To his loved ones, he was a a nickname that captured his warmth. His brothers Verdine and Fred White were EWF members, making it a family affair. Tragically, on February 4, 2016, Maurice passed away peacefully in his sleep at 74, after over 2 decades with Parkinson's. Tributes poured in from Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, and more, with a special site, starlk.org, launched to honor him. In 2025, Maurice is remembered as the architect of 20th century music, enshrined in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Songwriters Hall of Fame, and NAACP Image Awards Hall of Fame. Philip Bailey, the voice that soared. If Maurice was EWF's heart, Philip Bailey was its voice, lifting their music to the heavens. Born on May 8, 1951, in Denver, Colorado, Philip grew up surrounded by jazz, gospel, and Motown. His mother nurtured his artistic curiosity, and influences like Sarah Vaughan, Miles Davis, and Stevie Wonder shaped his soulful style. Before fame, he studied at the University of Colorado and played in a local R&B band, Friends and Love. In 1972, Maurice White heard Philip's voice and invited him to join EWF, changing his life forever. Philip's 4-octave falsetto became EWF's signature. His soaring vocals on Reasons, Fantasy, and Devotion gave the band a celestial edge, complementing Maurice's earthy tones. He shared lead vocals on mega hits like September, Shining Star, and Boogie Wonderland, making EWF's sound unmistakable. When Maurice stepped back from touring in 1994, Philip became the frontman, leading EWF's live shows with magnetic energy. His stage presence, graceful yet powerful, kept audiences spellbound. Philip's talents stretched beyond EWF. In 1983, he released his debut solo album, Continuation, featuring the hit I Know. His 1984 gospel album, The Wonders of His Love, reflected his deep Christian faith. In 1999, he explored jazz with Dreams, collaborating with Pat Metheny and Grover Washington Jr. His duet with Phil Collins, Easy Lover, became a global smash, showing his versatility. In 2019, Love Will Find a Way blended Afrobeat, soul, and social consciousness, proving Philip was still evolving. In 2025, at 74, Philip Bailey remains EWF's frontman, touring with Verdine White and Ralph Johnson. His falsetto is still pristine, his presence electric. A private family man, Philip keeps his personal life low-key but speaks often of faith and family. He's a living legend, carrying EWF's torch while inspiring new generations. Whether he's hitting those high notes or mentoring his son, Philip Bailey Jr., who joined EWF in 2008, Philip proves some voices never fade. Verdine White, the heartbeat of EWF. It isn't just EWF's bassist, he's its heartbeat. Born on July 25, 1951, in Chicago, Illinois, Verdine grew up in a musical family. His father, a doctor and saxophonist, and his brothers, Maurice and Fred, filled their home with music. At 15, Verdine discovered the bass in his high school orchestra room, and his path was set. Mentored by Chess Records' Louis Satterfield and trained by Chicago Symphony's Rady Vela, Verdine honed a style that was funky, fluid, and relentless. In 1970, Maurice called Verdine to join EWF in Los Angeles. With his Fender bass slung low, Verdine's grooves powered hits like Shining Star, Getaway, and Boogie Wonderland. His flamboyant outfits and infectious stage energy made him a fan favorite. As EWF soared in the 1970s and 80s, winning Grammys and selling millions, Verdine was the kinetic force, never missing a beat through lineup changes and industry shifts. Beyond EWF, Verdine's impact is profound. He co-authored Playing the Bass Guitar with Satterfield and founded the Verdine White Foundation and Performing Arts Center in Los Angeles, empowering underprivileged youth through music. In 2025, at 73, Verdine surprised fans by stepping up as a lead vocalist with a single Superman, a tribute to Maurice, produced by his wife, Shelley Clark, a former member of the Acquettes. It was a full-circle moment for the bassist who'd always been the band's pulse. Verdine's personal life is as steady as his bass lines. Married to Shelley for over 40 years, he lives in a historic Los Angeles home with a son and granddaughter. Despite the losses of his brothers Fred, 2023, and Monty, 2020, Verdine's youthful energy shines on stage in 2025, proving he's still EWF's heartbeat. Ralph Johnson, the rhythmic spine. It brought quiet elegance to EWF's rhythm section. Born on July 4, 1951, in Los Angeles, California, Ralph grew up in a musical household, with a lyricist father and vocalist mother. At 8, he received a snare drum and was hooked. By 13, a James Brown concert with 3 drum kits on stage ignited his passion for rhythm. Ralph cut his teeth in local bands like the Teen Turbans before Maurice White spotted him in 1971. Joining EWF in 1972, Ralph's precise drumming anchored hits like Fantasy, Boogie Wonderland, and Let's Groove. His percussion blended jazz finesse with funk, helping EWF win 6 Grammys and sell over 90 million albums. Ralph's understated brilliance was the backbone of their live shows, complementing Verdine's bass and Maurice's vision. Outside EWF, Ralph explored producing and songwriting, collaborating with Drake and Meghan Trainor. His 2019 solo project, Coast to Coast, Everything's Cool, revealed a personal side. A martial arts black belt in Tang Soo Do and Kung Fu San Soo, Ralph teaches at his instructor school. He's also a certified scuba diver and aviation enthusiast. In 2025, at 73, Ralph tours with EWF, his rhythm as steady as ever. His private life remains guarded, but friends describe him as spiritual and loyal, a calming force in EWF's evolution. Larry Dunn, the Sonic Alchemist. It was EWF's Sonic Alchemist, sculpting sounds that defined an era. Born on June 19, 1953, in Denver, Colorado, to an Italian mother and African-American father, Larry was a musical prodigy. By high school, he was composing and arranging with professional confidence. In 1972, Maurice White invited him to join EWF, and Larry's keyboards became the band's shimmering backbone. From 1972 to 1983, Larry's chord progressions and synthesizer work shaped classics like Shining Star, a Grammy Hall of Fame track he co-wrote, and albums like That's the Way of the World and All in All. As musical director, he crafted arrangements that made EWF's live shows legendary. His work wasn't flashy but essential, blending soul, jazz, and funk into a cosmic sound. Larry left EWF in 1983 to explore new horizons, producing for The Emotions, Ronnie Laws, and Dee Dee Bridgewater. He worked with Brian Culbertson in 2008 and 2014, and reunited with EWF for their 2013 album Now, Then, and Forever. In 2025, at 72, Larry lives quietly, mentoring young musicians and occasionally performing. His influence echoes in neo-soul and modern production, a testament to his genius. Jessica Cleaves, the ethereal voice. It brought an ethereal voice to EWF's early sound. Born on December 10, 1948, in Los Angeles, California, Jessica grew up in a spiritual, artistic family. Her grandfather, a bishop, instilled values she channeled into her music. Studying at the California Institute of the Arts and UCLA, she joined Friends of Distinction, singing hits like Grazing in the Grass before Maurice White recruited her in 1971. Jessica's vocals on Last Days in Time, 1972, and Head to the Sky, 1973, added a soulful elegance to tracks like Zanzibar and Keep Your Head to the Sky. She left EWF in 1973 as Maurice tightened creative control, joining George Clinton's Parliament Funkadelic. There, her voice shone on albums like Tales of Kid Funkadelic and Uncle Jam Wants You, embracing cosmic funk. Jessica never chased fame, focusing on the music. She remained close to her godson, director Armando Araujo, and began a documentary about her life, Jessica Cleaves, My Friends of Distinction, which was never completed. Tragically, she passed away on May 2, 2014, at 65, from stroke complications. Her voice remains a vital part of EWF's early legacy. Andrew Woolfolk, the saxophone soul. It was EWF's secret weapon, slicing through their grooves with soulful precision. Born on October 11, 1950, in San Antonio, Texas, and raised in Denver, Andrew trained as a classical saxophonist. Joining EWF in 1973, his solos elevated hits like September and Boogie Wonderland, adding a shimmering layer to their sound. From 1973 to 1985 and 1987 to 1993, Andrew's saxophone was a cornerstone of EWF's horn section. He played on albums like Gratitude and Raise, earning a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2000. As a session musician, he worked with Phil Collins and Denise Williams, his versatility shining through. In his later years, Andrew kept a low profile, his personal life private. In April 2022, Philip Bailey announced Andrew's passing at 71 after a long illness. His tribute captured Andrew's spirit: great memories, great talent, funny, competitive, and always styling. Andrew's saxophone solos live on, a vital part of EWF's legacy. Roland Bautista, the guitar poet. It gave EWF's rhythms a poetic edge. Born on May 30, 1951, in Los Angeles, California, Roland joined EWF in 1972 for Last Days in Time, his intricate guitar work shaping their early jazz-funk sound. He left after one album to pursue solo projects but returned in 1981 for Raise, Powerlight, and Electric Universe. Roland's guitar blended jazz, funk, and rock, adding depth to EWF's grooves. His solo albums, Bautista, 1977, and The Heat of the Wind, 1978, showcased his technical brilliance. As a session musician, he worked with the Crusaders, Randy Crawford, and the Jackson 5. Soft-spoken and dedicated, Roland let his music speak. Tragically, Roland passed away in 2012 at 60. His contributions to EWF's early and later sounds remain unforgettable, a testament to his quiet genius. Wade Flemons, the early voice. It was one of EWF's founding voices. Born on September 25, 1940, in Coffeyville, Kansas, Wade was a singer and keyboardist who joined Maurice White's The Salty Peppers in 1969. When the group became EWF, Wade's vocals and electric piano shaped their first two albums, Earth, Wind and Fire, 1971, and The Need of Love, 1971. His soulful delivery laid the groundwork for EWF's early sound. Wade left EWF in 1972 to pursue a solo career, having already recorded singles in the 1960s. He passed away from cancer on October 13, 1993, at 53. Though his time with EWF was brief, his contributions were pivotal in the band's formative years. The legacy and current status. Earth, Wind and Fire's original members created a sound that's still alive in 2025. Philip Bailey, Verdine White, and Ralph Johnson continue to tour, joined by newer members like Philip Bailey Jr., Myron McKinley, and the Earth, Wind and Fire Horns. Their July 2025 Kansas City concert was declared Earth, Wind and Fire Day by Mayor Quinton Lucas, a testament to their enduring impact. Fans from multiple generations danced to September and Boogie Wonderland, proving EWF's music is timeless. Tragically, many original members are no longer with us. Maurice White, 2016, Jessica Cleaves, 2014, Andrew Woolfolk, 2022, Roland Bautista, 2012, and Wade Flemons, 1993, left behind a legacy that continues to inspire. Larry Dunn, at 72, mentors and performs, keeping EWF's spirit alive offstage. The band's influence is everywhere, from Prince to Beyoncé to Bruno Mars. Their 90 million records sold, 6 Grammys, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions cement their place in history. EWF's story isn't just about music. It's about resilience, creativity, and connection. Their blend of funk, soul, and spirituality broke barriers, uniting people across cultures. In 2025, their concerts are still family gatherings, where fans young and old sing every word. As Verdine White told Cryptic Rock, "We've been extremely blessed and fortunate to keep this legacy alive." From Maurice White's cosmic vision to Philip Bailey's soaring voice, Earth, Wind and Fire's original members gave us more than music. They gave us a movement. In 2025, their legacy burns bright, with Verdine, Philip, and Ralph carrying the torch, while the spirits of Maurice, Jessica, Andrew, Roland, and Wade live on in every note. Which EWF story moved you most? Drop it in the comments, share your favorite song, and let's keep the groove alive. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives into music history. Keep shining, and we'll see you next time.